Your shirt is awesome. So I'm sorry that the listeners don't get to see it on camera.
Thank you, thank you. Everyone today was like, "Hey, you look like you're on vacation." I say, I kind of feel like I'm on vacation now that I'm back here and just doing what
Hanging
I'm
out.
doing, helping people.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, you got to have casual Fridays. So I'm here for it. Ken, thank you so much for joining me today. Super excited for our conversation.
Yeah, I'm super excited myself.
Well, to start things off, why don't you tell listeners a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background?
Yeah, of course. So, a little bit about myself. I started doing startups at the age of 16. I was really hands-on hustling because, growing from an Asian family, I was never given money. Every time I wanted something, I had to go work and and get it myself.
So when you say you were
So
doing startups, were you starting your own? Were you working for startups? What did that look like?
yeah, I was starting my own. We did a like local like mobile repair unit where we kind of said like, hey, we'll fix your phone. This was back when iPhone 4 and 4S phone
Wow.
screens, they would break. People would break them all the time because the Gorilla Glass was just, why would you put glass on the front and the back? you know? Uh, so people were cracking those all the time. We are just sending people out, my friend and I, to go and repair them and make some money. And then that really just, set my eyes into the entrepreneurial world.
I love
From
that.
there, I started doing some other, brick and mortar stuff. We did a computer repair shop. We did a frozen yogurt and sandwich shop.
Wow.
Uh, and then my the biggest one that I did was a liquid nitrogen ice cream shop, which we scaled that up to 40,000, and then we had a little bit of disputes, but 40,000 a month for 3 months, and then he kind of like said, "Hey, I'm buying you out."
That's
So
incredible.
I made it. I would say it's a pretty good exit, which got me further into my career. But two things happened along this time. So one, I kind of got burned out of the startup world just because we had some disputes, but I had some cash in hand. So I decided to focus more on school, and then I invested in some random stock tickers that I thought would be the next things for the future. So Fitbit, GoPro, Zag, Etsy, Snapchat, Starbucks, and then I just went to finish school. So I finished school and I got a chemistry degree. I was
Wow.
supposed to be,
Interesting.
yeah, I was supposed to be a doctor, because my parents wanted me to be a doctor,
Yeah.
typical, typical Asian family thing. And I decided not to do that. So I ended up, figuring out what do I do?
Yeah. And I'm sure the
And
decision wasn't easy to make, and making that shift was probably difficult. But, it seems to me, at least from our conversations so far, you've landed in a really solid spot with LaunchCode. So I'm excited to hear more about that and how you got yourself involved in LaunchCode.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I was given a second opportunity chance, you know, not getting a job with a chemistry degree, but made my way into venture and then slowly moved to doing stuff with the Valley. And then, long story short, I was given a second chance of, what can you do with your life and career and progress yourself multiple times. And at the same time, I was teaching myself coding, and then Launch Code came out and said, "Hey, we need someone in business development." And me coming from the venture background, knowing how to talk to people and communicate, and knowing what LaunchCode is trying to solve as a mission is to give people a second chance, or a second career, or a second chance career, and you know, figure out where do you go from here. And so that aligned with me, and then the coding aspect aligned with me because I really liked coding. And then I was like, this mission's really awesome.
Yeah.
Let's teach people how to code and help them find second careers when no one
Yeah.
else wants to give them a shot.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like your own experience of, finding that second career really shaped your passion for helping others find theirs. So I think that's really cool to see, how your past experiences have shaped your current lens through which you view your current experiences. So I'm sure that I know that's true of us all, but it's interesting to connect the dots a little bit. So would you mind telling me a little bit more about LaunchCode's background and, what excites you most about what you're doing with LaunchCode?
Yeah. So not a lot of people know this, but Jim McKelvey, who was the founder of LaunchCode, actually was one of the founders of Square.
Hmm.
And so if you've ever been to a retail brick and mortar, you usually have that iPod's point of sale system. That is the Square system. And he tried to build it out in St. Louis. And there was, not a whole lot of tech teams, or at least when he was trying to find it, it was just really hard and difficult to find the right ones that wanted to work with him. And so he decided to say, hey, I'm going to go to Silicon Valley and figure out how to build out this business. And so he did that, built up Square. He realized, there's a really big lack of tech talent here in the Midwest. And since he was a St. Louis native, he said, hey, I'm gonna build this new organization around, giving people the opportunity to find tech and develop tech talent out here in the Midwest. And so he wanted to solve that talent gap, and so that's why he founded LaunchCode
That's exciting.
as a response.
I love that. So, what differentiates Launch Code from other, accelerator or like career pivot programs? Tell me about, Launch Code's business model.
Yeah. So, LaunchCode, usually you have people from very diverse backgrounds. You can have people who were either veterans, people who got a degree and couldn't really make it in the workforce with that degree or couldn't find anything.
Hmm.
So they go out and try to figure out, what I do next. We could have people that are, they just really couldn't afford to go to college, and maybe they're from, underserved communities, and we give them that type of opportunity. So we like to collaborate with everyone within those demographics that we specifically try to find and build out this tech talent within them. So that's one side as we bring people in. The other side is, our organization um, has two different parts which keeps us running. One is going to be the donors. So
Hmm.
really grateful for all the donors that send us donations. And then the other side is when we do place people at these companies, not only do we open up the doors for them and give them an opportunity, um, that is a part of our revenue. But where we're really uniquely different when we do the placing arm is we don't just contract out people like traditional staffing agencies.
Hmm.
We actually employ them under LaunchCode and then subcontract them out to those companies. And what's really beneficial about that is we give them vacation days, holidays, 401k matching, health, dental, and vision, which most staffing agencies, they just do not do.
Hmm.
And the idea is to not keep them contingently working for us forever. We want to give them the experience and then fully hand them over into that company.
I love that. Yeah. And it sounds like you are more like Launch Code as a program is a little more holistic than any other, accelerator or like you mentioned, staffing agency. It really is its own model. So I think that's really, really exciting. So how can listeners support Launch Code and your mission?
So, like I said, we have a big portion about donors, then we have a big portion of placements.
Hmm.
So any listeners, if they visit our website, launchcode.org, there's a button that says donate. So donations are always welcome. And then any types of businesses that are looking for entry-level tech talent or tech talent in general, I definitely like to hear from them that we can figure out how to build out these pipelines to work with them directly to help place our launch coders and give them an opportunity to enter the tech world.
That's awesome. Well, Ken, thank you so much for sharing so much about Launch Code. I have one last question for you before we say our farewells, but I'm curious to hear about a success story that really, resonates with you. Have you had one as, someone who's been a participant in Launch Code?
Yeah. So one of the biggest success stories was, I believe I heard it in one of the team stand-ups. There was a guy who's flipping pizzas, making the average 30,000 a year, had four kids, and then he was driving a truck on the weekend. And, even out here in the Midwest, I mean, 30,000 with four kids, that's a struggle. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how he did it, but he definitely has the tenacity to make it through. But eventually we got them placed at a company, and their starting salary was really, really, it's way higher than they ever thought they would get.
Wow.
And sure enough, within a year, they're making 60,000, being placed full time in the company, and then within 3 or 4 years later, they're making over 120. So
Wow.
it's a huge life changing experience for these people who never would have thought they would have got the opportunity to make more than 30 or 40,000,
Right.
especially working those types of jobs for so many years. And then now it's like the stories of how grateful they are to be able to afford things, have vacations, and provide for the family. That is just amazing for me to hear
Yeah,
those
and
stories.
for us all. So thank you so much for sharing. I think that is really, really inspiring, and I hope that that resonates with someone out there. Maybe if you're in that place in your career where you're feeling a little stuck, there are options out there, and it's exciting to hear about this one. So thank you so much, Ken.
Yeah, thank you.